Okay, so after we folded our plate, we flattened our plate out, and we folded it in half, and then in half again to get the quarter sizes. Then what we want to do is we want to take a pencil, preferably, and we want to do our axes. So these two, basically this cross-looking thing here becomes our X and Y axis. We use a flat edge of our protractor to trace down. And then on the other side, we do the same thing. Okay. Then we want to label, here's our Y-axis, here's our X-axis. Okay? Now the next thing that we want to do, we want to label the degree measurements that we know now. We know that starting off that this right here is 0 degrees. This is 90 degrees. This is 180 degrees. This is 270 degrees. And then if I'm all the way back up, this is also 360 degrees. Okay? And so I've just done the 4 quadrants there, from 0 to here is 90, to here is 180, to here is 270. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to create our other angles. Now if you recall from geometry and possibly even algebra 2, and we've talked about it a little bit in pre-cal, you have special right triangles, you have the 45-45, and you have the 30-60. Well, we're going to create those different families of angles so that we can work with those triangles to actually find all of our values of certain trig functions within those degrees. Here's how it's going to work. The first thing you have to do is you have to remember how to use your protractor. The first angle we want to make is 30 degrees, or actually no, we're going to do 45 degrees first. What you want to do is take your protractor, and this little point right here where it's like a hole, you want to put that hole right on the center of your X and Y axes. In other words, right at the origin. And you want to line it up such that this line on your protractor is right on the X-axis. And if you look at your protractor, you have 2 different sides. If you start on the right and go up, you see you have 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, all the way around to 180 degrees. If you had to start from your left, which right now we're not doing that, if you had to start from your left, you would look at the top measurements. It goes from 0 to 10 to 20 to 30 and so on all the way around. So how do we make a 45-degree angle? Well, again, the first thing we have to do is make sure that our point is right on the origin, and this little black line on the protractor is right on the X-axis. And then what I want to do is just come up here and find 45 degrees. So I'm at 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 45 is right there. See how I'm at 40, in between 40 and 50 here and here, and this is the halfway point. So that's 45 degrees. Once I make that little tick mark there, take my protractor off, and from the origin to the outside of the plate, I make that line right there, and that's 45 degrees. Now what we want to do is we don't want to actually do this in pencil. It's okay if you did it in pencil for now, but the reason you have the other colors is we have different families of angles. And this first family is going to be our 45-degree family. And I'm going to do mine in red. You can do yours in red, or you can do it in whichever color you like, as long as the family is in the same color. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to make the next angle that is in the family of the 45-degree angles. And we're going to talk more about these families when we start talking about reference angles and so forth. But the next angle is the 135-degree angle. So go back to the origin here, placing the open spot on the origin, and from the left going all the way over to 135. And so it's kind of the same thing there. I'm in between the 130 and the 140. Make the little tick mark on that big line representing the halfway point. Come through here, through the origin. and make that angle. Now, what we have so far is we have a 45-degree angle, and we have this angle right here. This is going to be the 135-degree angle. Now, when we talk about families of angles, we don't have to keep measuring here, because for the 45 and the 135, if you go back to the angle you created, the 45-degree angle, and kind of bring your protractor to the other side of the plate, lining up the straight edge of the bottom with the straight edge of the angle here, and continue on and draw this straight through, that's going to create another angle that we need. Likewise, if I go from here over to the other side of the plate, it's going to create the last angle of the 45-degree angle family. Now let's think about this. This first angle here is 45 degrees. I start with the x-axis and I go up, creating 45 degrees. The reason that I'm over here at the 135-degree mark is because if I start with the x-axis on this side, I'm at 180. And if I go this way, from the negative side of the x-axis up, that's another 45-degree angle. And so that's why 45 and this 180, if I subtract 45 from 180, I get the 135. If I start from the negative side of the x-axis and I want to go this direction 45 degrees, 180 plus 45 degrees, that's 225 degrees. And let's make these angle measurements, let's actually put them out here. 225 degrees. This would be 135 degrees. We'll put it out here. And we'll put the 45-degree mark out here as well. Just like we did with the 0, the 90, and so forth. So we can leave those alone for now. And I'm going to continue on in that manner with the other angles as well. Like this. The next one we're going to do is 30 degrees. Go back to my protractor. Put the center at the origin. And I'm doing 30 degrees. 30 degrees is right here. Make the mark. And since I already know that I'm going to go all the way through the origin to create the family of angles, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so now this is 30 degrees. Now, if this is a solid line here, straight line, if I go 30 degrees from here and I come this direction, 180 degrees, 30 degrees plus 180 degrees is 210 degrees. So this is 210 degrees. Now, if I did 30 degrees from the positive x-axis, I also want to do 30 degrees from the negative axis here. So watch this, the negative x-axis. So if I go from this other side here, and if I go up 30 degrees, I can see it right there from the numbers on the top of the protractor. This is also from the positive x-axis. This is 150 degrees. It's another member of the family of angles here. And again, I'm going to go all the way through. So this we said was 150 degrees. And if I have 150 degrees and if I add 180 to it, then I'm at 330 degrees here. I could also look at it like this. If this is a member of the 30-degree family, from the positive x-axis going in the negative direction here, I'm going down 30 degrees. The angle between the positive x-axis and here, this is a 30-degree angle. And we have one final family of angles to do, and we'll be done with our angles. Go back to the origin with our protractor, and now we're going to do 60 degrees. So I go up here and I see 60 here. Draw the line. And go through my origin. So this is 60 degrees. 60 degrees plus 180 degrees is 240. So this one is 240 degrees. Go back to my origin. And I want to go 60 degrees from the negative x-axis here. So up to here. This is 60 degrees. It's also, if I'm looking in reference from the positive x-axis here in this direction, it's 120 degrees. Draw that line through. And so I have here 120 degrees. And if I add 120 and 180 degrees all the way around this way, this gives me 300 degrees. And I need to label that as my never labeled that one. And that's how you make your family of angles.